And we're recording.
Oh, this is so fun. So fun. So, hi.
Hi.
I love our conversation so much. So, I wanted to have a conversation with you because I've never been to one of your live events, and there's one coming up. My whole body is incredibly giddy about it, and I can't wait. And a lot of people are saying, like, asking me, like, what is it? And I don't know, I haven't done it. So I wanted to have a conversation with you because you and I have a lot of really fun conversations and talk about really this class. And I guess first off, like, where did it come from?
Not this reality. I mean, if I really get honest and look at the energy, it came out of this place where as a kid, I never had any judgment of my body. And I was always doing these things that people were like, how do you do that? So like in 6th grade, I broke the record for the arm hang. I think I even beat the guys. I did it in like 3 minutes and 56 seconds. And I've gone to my grade school and my name is still like on the wall. And so as a kid, I was always doing, and I watched my own son do this, I was always doing these crazy things with my body. And then I grew up in a really strict, crazy Irish Catholic family, and all my aunts were slugging wine, smoking cigarettes, and talking shit about everybody, right? And so I remember them eventually saying, like, oh, that ice cream's going to catch up to you. You eat like a horse, and eventually it's going to. And so there's like this dichotomy in my world that I grew up with like looking at their worlds and going, you guys are just lying. Like, that's not my reality. But eventually what happened is in high school, I started to adopt all those points of views and then went down an insane, I went down a really hard road and a really fucked up road, and I started judging the crap out of my body. But actually what happened, Michelle, is as I started to devalue me. So I started to make myself less than everyone else. I started to like dim down, like one of my dreams was to be like the Olympic gold downhill ski racer. And at 13, I knew I could do it. But I slowly started to back away from my dreams in order to fit in. So this event is a combination of waking the body back up to its original like state of existence, which is to be joy, to have no point of view, and to freaking create a future that defies reality.
When you're talking, my like 6-year-old self is like, yes, this is what I've always known was possible. But as I grew older, you know, I loved chocolate cake, and I hated the cooking in my family. So I never wanted to eat dinner, but I always wanted to eat the cake or dessert, but mostly the chocolate cake. And I remember my grandma saying to me one time at dinner, she said, when you start dating, you need to have a whole little kid is like, this is what I know. Like I can eat chocolate cake and not feel weird at all.
Yeah, well, we lost you for a minute during
yeah,
the whole thing. But I think it's true. I watched Duke, and Duke, first thing he wants is, we had chocolate cake for lunch today.
yeah.
You know, bodies, yeah, as kids, we just like things for the joy of it, not for the judgment of it.
And then, you know, like, so with the no judgment diet and this 3-day class, like how do we unwind that? Like what happens that helps us unwind that?
Wow. I get full body goosebumps when you ask me that question. I don't actually have a linear answer for you, because the reality is that we all somehow like twist ourselves into some form of reality. So the way that people unwind it, I mean, the quickest answer is choice, asking the right questions. But I think it's the willingness, because I'm an ex-psychologist, you're sort of an like energy junkie. Not that you're an ex-psycho, like we come from a background of, in order to change something, we need to dig into the past of it. And the no judgment diet, the only way that I discovered the fastest way to change a body is to actually look at the space in the future and choose from the present moment. So if you're looking at chocolate cake and you're at dinner, or you're at somebody's house and they're cooking for you, and your body gravitates towards the chocolate cake, most of us are programmed to go, oh, it's not polite to eat chocolate cake for dinner. Oh, I'll stand out. But yet your body is clearly giving you the energy of chocolate cake. And so it's literally like, what if the past and every judgment and every conclusion and every like plan and rule and program that we've ever been taught was actually what sticks us in the now? And so we unwind it from, like every class, because we've now done probably 40 classes in the last several years, and every single class, no matter what part of the world it's in, I am so shocked and surprised, but not shocked, of all of the different ways that the door gets open to people like having their aha moment, having their like whole body exhale and go, oh my God, my 6-year-old can eat chocolate cake for dinner. And not just chocolate cake for dinner and then go into shame or regret or hiding or a sugar coma. It's more like chocolate cake for dinner and I just lost 5 pounds because I'm following the lightness of what's actually true for me.
Yeah, so I also have a psychology background, done a lot of work on myself the hard way. I'm grateful for everything that I've done. And what makes this 3-day experience different than like a psychosomatic intensive?
Oh my gosh. The quickest answer is that what if we stop taking our bodies so seriously? Because the reality is you and I have talked about this and we play with this. It's like a 6-year-old is not going to change by getting serious. And in fact, it's going to like depress them, make them sad. Maybe they'll throw a temper tantrum. And so the psychosomatic answer is from a psychosomatic place. It's like, let's ask the question, the energy comes up in the body, but then we're supposed to spend 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 10 hours, 10 years talking about the energy that came up. And, from using the tools of access, because this 3-day adventure is based on the tools of access consciousness. And it's like, what if change could be fun? What if change could be quicker than you could ever imagine? So the difference is, you ask the question, the energy comes up and you're like, I have no idea what that is, but it changes. And to watch people's faces, especially on camera or on video, change in person is amazing too. But there's something different when in a live class, everybody's facing me so I can see everyone. But in a class online, everybody gets to see everybody else's face. And so even as like, let's say, you're changing and your physical appearance is changing on camera, everybody else's physical appearance changes also as a result of what you're choosing.
Wow. Okay. So say more about that.
Well, so how many women do you know have a similar disposition from the way that you grew up? They wish they could just freaking eat chocolate cake all day long. And yet how many women judge themselves and judge that that's not an appropriate choice because they're adult, they should be slim, like your grandma told you, well, you're not going to be able to eat chocolate cake eventually, especially if you start dating, right? You cut out a little bit during you sharing that experience. But it's like, how many women do you know that have the point of view that they have to eat appropriately, and they have all these rules and regulations about their body, right? And so I think we're losing you again real quick. But if you choose to let go of your rule and you're like, oh my God, that's a lie, it's a lie, all of a sudden everyone around you, so what's cool is up to 350,000 people that we're connected to get free, but you're on a camera with everyone else and they're like, oh my God, that is a lie. And the reality is like if you point out my crap where I'm stuck, which happened to us today, you were like pointing out my crap and I was getting upset, right? I have a much easier time seeing my crap when you're pointing it out to somebody else. So if I have a similar experience with someone else, it's much easier for me to see it in them than it is for me to admit that it's living in me.
Right. Yeah. So that's amazing. That's really cool. So as an example, if I'm going to be in the class and this, I have questions, but I think one of the greatest questions that most people live with, I know a lot of people I talk to, they're waiting until they look like this, or they fit in this size jean, or they lose this amount of weight before ... whatever that is. So, if I showed up and then I said, I'd really like to start dating, but I'd really rather lose 10 pounds before I did it. Like, how would you address me? What would that look like?
Well, I can give you an example because I actually worked with someone and had an experience with them for a couple of years. And when they first came to work with me, they're like, Katherine, I need to lose 10 pounds. I have a crush on this guy. He likes me. I like him. I haven't had sex in a really long time. It was an older woman. She'd been through a lot of change in her life. And she's like, but I'm carrying this extra weight from some of the changes she went through. And she's like, I can't allow myself to get naked. And I was like, so I just asked her, well, if you gave your body permission to get naked, just the idea of somebody physically touching your body, would your body lose the weight? And she was so cute. She said, yes, but. Right? Because she's like, but I can't get over allowing myself to be that vulnerable with someone. He's smaller than I am. He's fitter. I'm larger. And so we went through this rigmarole, and we went through 2 years. So the first year, she was only 10 pounds heavier than what she wanted to be in order to let herself get naked. The second year, she still had a crush on him. They were still hanging out. They were quasi-dating, but they had not gotten intimate because she was not feeling good about herself. Well, the second year, she had then put on 20 pounds. And she's like, I need to lose the weight. I was like, truth, if you allowed your body to be touched and be seen and get naked, would your body lose the weight? And she was like, yes, but. And this went on for a lot of things. And so we tend to stop ourselves from choosing a choice that will actually lose the weight, that will actually change the body. Having someone touch your body with kindness and caring and having an orgasm with them and being intimate, most bodies will melt overnight, things that they're carrying. But guess what? We're not necessarily carrying weight. We judge it as weight, but we're carrying judgments. So when someone gets intimate with you with no point of view in their world and they're just grateful, they're like, oh my gosh, you're letting me get intimate with you and you're sharing with me and I'm sharing with you. That's a place where judgments can actually go away. And the other thing I ask people is like, okay, so if you have 10 extra pounds on your frame, does your body actually want to lose weight? Right? And so we have all probably been there of like, oh my God, well, my size is a size 6, so I'm going to shop at size 6. But really, my body might fit into a 2 in this size, or this brand, a 4 in this brand, and a 10 in this brand. And what if I didn't judge the size of it? And instead, I went off how I feel when I'm wearing it. And so I think with someone who's always, I want to lose. So the first question I ask is, it's sort of a long-winded question, but the first question, or a long-winded answer, first question I ask is, what do you think losing 10 pounds will give you? And they say, peace. I'm like, well, why not choose peace now? Right? What do you think losing 10 pounds will give you? Happiness. Well, why not choose happiness now? What do you think 10 pounds will get you? I can fit in my skinny jeans. Go buy a new pair of skinny jeans. You know, like we create these crazy rules for ourselves that aren't fun. They're not light, as if we're adulting and being responsible. But I would say it's just kind of being stupid, and we're being mean to ourselves.
Yeah. So then would you say the whole concept of no judgment diet is when you stop having judgments on you, then you don't need to diet?
100%. 100%. Now, this isn't don't follow Weight Watchers. This isn't don't do a cleanse. This isn't, don't spend 10 days on green drinks or juice fasting. Do it, but do it from the place of, oh my gosh, choosing this actually makes me feel lighter, but I'm not going to cut off my awareness in the process. And we lost you again. There we go.
I don't know why I'm so unstable today.
We're on shaky ground today. Oh my gosh. Well, my computer's doing fun stuff. Yeah. So, but it's like, do whatever is gonna light you up. And look, sometimes if we have gained weight and we know we want to like change, sometimes it is like taking 2 or 3 days and eating different. And that first day, especially when you're like, I know I've gone through it, when I feel chunky, for me, it's because I've been ignoring my awareness.
Oh, say more about that.
Okay, so how many times do we ignore awareness and go, oh, I'll deal with that later? Right? Every choice we make either takes us closer to the future we want to create, or it takes us farther away. And so when I'm with my son, and actually we were talking about this week, I was like, oh my God, I gain weight every time I'm around him. I'm eating foods I never eat. But I'm not, it's not about eating the food, it's the fact that I'm judging what I'm eating because I'm eating his food. So I'm eating goldfish and I'm eating Cocoa Puffs and I'm eating, like stuff I just don't consume when I'm around him. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm stuffing something, some point of view I have about parenting that I don't want to look at. And I was like, oh, I have to like admit to myself that, like, how dare I admit that sometimes I might not want to be a parent, right? Or sometimes I might not want to have to put him to bed or deal with some of the conversations. And it was simply what I realized is I was trying to fit into this reality's version of parenting, which actually doesn't work for me. And so as I was trying to fit in, I was using food. So it wasn't the food that was creating the weight. It was the judgment. And it was also stuffing the judgment that I had about my parenting. So a lot of times when our bodies get bigger, it's because we are ignoring something inside our consciousness that's asking us to evolve, but we don't yet know what it is, or we don't actually want to look at what it is.
Yeah. I mean, I would say if you're a parent, I know I'm a mom, so I know for me, like I'm always like, what is this mom suit? I gotta get this mom suit off, because when I'm not with my kids, I look different, I act different, and when I'm with my kids, I look different and I act different. And like really looking at like, what is it that I've decided being a mom is that I have to morph into, and that also changes my physical appearance, which is really crazy.
We've got the mom suit on, right?
Yeah.
But it is, and it's like sometimes we wear a mom suit, sometimes we wear a business suit, sometimes we wear a judgment suit, sometimes we wear a wife or a husband suit or a partner suit, or like we wear all of these versions based on going unaware.
Yeah. And so in this 3-day class, basically someone will bring up a question that they have, and then part of what you do is facilitate them to what's underneath it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's never the thing we think it is.
Right.
Which is why I was like upset today, because I was like, this is driving me nuts. Because if weight was the thing we thought it was, we would all be capable of changing our weight. Yeah. It's whatever is the choice or the conclusion or the decision underneath the weight. So when people say, well, I want to lose 10 pounds, then I'll go on a date. The 10 pounds is the excuse. And if they weren't using the 10 pounds as the excuse, what choices are actually available?
Yeah. Well, one of the things that I'm excited, I feel grateful that I get to take this class for the first time online, because we work we create together. So I have kind of the back end stuff, but one of the things that I'm excited about is being in my own home. Maybe I cut out. Did I cut out?
Nope, you're just your video, but we heard your audio.
Okay. So I'm excited about being in my own home while this class, because there's something that we can talk to our bodies and listen to what our bodies actually want to choose. And so you were talking a little bit about like going through the kitchen. So do you want to talk a little more about that?
Yeah. So when I discovered the no judgment diet, it was, literally, it wasn't like, hi, I'm going to create a course. Hi, I'm going to create a class. It was, I've been spending 20 years of my life judging my athletic, sexy body. And, it doesn't matter like what I eat, I'm pretty much have always been roughly, like I can still fit into jeans that I wore when I was 18 years old. Right. And so what I didn't realize is like 18, 19, 20, I started to get puffy. And it was like I started to follow the rules. So the rules were eat 7 fruits and vegetables a day, like stay away from sugar. And the more that I started to follow the rules, the thicker my body got, the more uncomfortable I got, the puffier I got. Like everyone always used to be like, you have such cute, chubby cheeks. And I'd be like, go away, go to hell. Don't tell me I have cute, chubby cheeks. Like, now people pay to get like cheekbone implants or whatever. But what I realized is half of the foods that I was eating in my fridge that were the good foods were the foods that were making me retain water. So I accidentally, I was teaching a class in my living room, 7 years ago, right after Duke was born. And I had a pint of strawberries and I was trying to show people how to muscle test. And when Duke was born, I was eating maybe 1 to 3 pints a week of strawberries. So I took this thing of strawberries and I was like, let's muscle test and I'll show you guys that my body likes strawberries. So I muscle test the strawberries and my body was like, hell no. I was like, haha, that's funny. Let's try it again. So I muscle tested again. And I ended up crying, laughing, and having this like aha moment. Well, immediately after that class, I stopped eating strawberries. I started muscle testing everything in my refrigerator. And half of what I was eating, My body muscle tested no. I stopped everything. It was like eggplant and tomatoes and strawberries, and there was a couple other things in there. And I stopped eating it, and like literally within 2 weeks, I think I lost 10 pounds. Right. And like, I don't go off of weight on the scale. I go off of like, oh, I was heavy in a size 6 and now I can wear a size 4 without having to. So we're actually going to look at foods, because there's a lot of foods that people go, oh, I can't eat that actually the body's craving, that would change the physical structure of the body.
Yeah.
And this is the monkey that is responsible for the no judgment diet. In a little bit. Go away and then go away. I don't know yet. I'll come get you.
Bye. See ya.
Bye. So it's about really unwinding the lies we've been told about the good foods, the right foods, and actually going, wait, my body doesn't work with diets. My body doesn't work with rules. My body doesn't work with regulations, but my body actually does work when I'm curious. Like, I always laugh and say, imagine you were in a relationship with your body, and you were treated the way you treat your body, which is you have to be home at 10 o'clock at night. You have to eat this at 3 o'clock in the morning. You have to wake up at 6, and you have to do this at 7, and you have to drink 8 gallons of water. And the only way I'll date you is if, like, none of us would actually stay in a relationship that has that many rules and regulations. But we do stay in relationships that go, oh, I'm really curious about your body. I'd like to ask you some questions.
Yeah. So part of this 3 days is really kind of developing a relationship with your body that you'd like to have.
Yeah. And it's the one that will actually help you create your future. Because that lie of, well, I want to lose 10 pounds, because if I lose 10 pounds, then I can, have the confidence to go on stage, or then I can, start putting myself out in the world in a different way. Then I'll start putting myself on video. Then I'll start putting myself on, we have all these rules and regulations. And what I discover is when you let go of those, the body's like, hi, can we create your future? Can we make you more money? Can we have like more fun? Can we show you who would be fun to date rather than your rules? And then it's like, and then it becomes an adventure rather than an adult planned, mapped out, like, construct that none of us like actually playing in.
Yeah. Well, my first, I experienced a no judgment diet way back in the beginning. And then a couple, whatever it was, maybe a year or so ago, I did an online program that you had called Ditch the Judgments, and you have a mirror exercise. And I really loved that exercise. So I don't actually have a problem looking at myself in the mirror. I don't judge myself in the mirror, but I judge myself in pictures or on video. However, a lot of people, like you're like, well, no, the mirror is my thing. So can you talk more about how we see ourselves in the mirror differently than we actually are?
Mm-hmm. Well, whenever, like, if you've ever had the experience, and I know the mirror for you isn't necessarily a thing, but if you ever had the experience of in one mirror, you're like, I look good. Oh, baby. And then you literally, whether it's in a restaurant or in a shopping mall or wherever, and then literally the next mirror, you look at yourself in the mirror and you're like, oh my God, this is what I look like. And you go into judgments. We're not actually looking at ourselves. We're looking at ourselves through the eyes of judgment. So when you look at a mirror and you've been in a store, let's say, call it like Ross, right?
Yeah,
or
I don't do shopping mirrors. No, I totally hear you. I can't see myself in a shopping mirror for sure.
Right. Because what you're doing is you're not looking at your image. You're looking at your image through everyone who's ever looked in that mirror and judged themselves as not enough. Wow. So, And it's the same thing with cameras. It's the same thing with video. I mean, a lot of people, like, I have zero judgment of myself on camera. I'm like, oh baby, let's do it. But put me in front of a mirror by myself, I can have a day where in the beginning of the day, I'm like, you look good today. Something may happen throughout that course of the day where I then start judging my food choices. Maybe I judge like something that happened with a friend or a conversation I had with someone. And then all of a sudden I have these judgments and I go back to look in the mirror. I'm not looking at me through interesting point of view, and nope, I'm looking at me through the judgments and the filter of I'm not enough. Something happened. I need to change what I like. And so whenever we look at ourselves, camera, video, mirror, reflection of a store window front, it's not what we see, it's what we're judging that we see that creates the damage.
Yeah, so I love your mirror exercise.
And that's in the manual for the 3 days. So we have a
manual. What do you mean?
We have a manual that comes with the 3-day class. So you will have tools and reference points. You'll be able to take notes. And one of the things we're also going to do besides muscle testing with the fridge and the pantry, you're going to be in your house.
Yeah.
We're going to like play with clothes. And go, okay, which clothes are in your closet that your body's actually like doesn't, every time you put them on, you actually go into more judgment instead of less.
Yeah, every time I put something on that I judge, I just throw it away. I'm like, why would I wear that?
well, you're different. I'm the girl that's like, I'm going to make these fit because when I bought these, I felt really sexy and I want to make myself feel sexy, so let me squeeze myself into something that I can barely breathe in. And then I'm like, why did I do that? I feel like crap. And then you judge. So I don't do that anymore, but I used to hang on. And I know a lot of women who have drawers full or a whole part of their closet full of their skinny clothes that they probably haven't been able to wear in over 10 years.
Wow.
And guess what? Every time you look at those clothes that you can't fit in, what does that create? Judgment or possibility?
It's interesting you bring that up. I went to visit my sister a few years back, and she had 3 or 4 closets, like so jammed packed full of clothes that one of her rods like fell off and broke because it was too heavy. She had a lot of clothes. And she's like, I just need help going through these. I've gained so much weight. None of them fit. I just need to get rid of them. So we went through all of our closets and we bagged up, I don't even know how many big black trash bags. And we took it all out to a trailer to get picked up by, whatever, Salvation Army or something. And then a year later, so we did this. And then a year later, I went to visit her and she was tinier than I'd seen her since she was like 17.
Yeah.
It was so cool. Yeah.
And I think this is the thing that I'm most excited about and that I get most excited about, whether it's the 3-day live class, whether it's the 15-day ditch the, like whatever it is, it's when you recognize that you don't have to choose to do anything that energizes judgment, your body will change instantaneously. And so, it's funny that this woman that I talked about earlier, who's like, I can't have sex until I lose the weight. Well, I've had other, people that I've worked with where I was like, what do you have to lose if you just go have sex? Like if you just let somebody touch you, and now we're talking about like people that they had connection with, they were wanting to get naked with them. They had so many judgments about their body. And I was like, what if you like for 5 hours or for a night or for 24 hours, you just like, were like, okay, whatever it takes, I'm not going to go into judgment and I'm going to enjoy the sensations. And I've had people ring me the next day and go, oh my God, I lost 10 pounds, or oh my God, I fit in my skinny jeans, or oh my God, I feel amazing, because the willingness to let go of the conclusion is actually what changes the body.
Yeah.
Not,
well, I know being, when I was married, I didn't think about my weight. I didn't have a problem because I had a very thriving sex life, and I just know my body likes that. Yeah.
yeah. And everybody is different, you know, but I know my body is funny. There was like a series of years where if I was going on a first date, my body would actually gain and get thicker. And I was like, what is this? And it would show me that it wanted me to not judge it and see how I was received energetically. I'd wake up the next day if I chose to go on that date, and my body would be back to its comfortable size. And so we do the, especially with women and hormones, and you know, through our monthly cycles, we go through, naturally we go through this progression of slight, you know, hanging on to some extra weight and then getting thinner. And like, it's kind of a natural cycle for a lot of women. And so why would we expect to uphold this idea of perfection when no one else is upholding that for us? So that's what I got.
So it's 3 days. What does that kind of look like? It's all day?
So it's 3 days. It's online. We take a 2-hour lunch break. And, you know, some people are joining from other places in the world. And so I think it's, you know, we start in the morning in US time, and we'll go for 3 hours. And then you'll take a lunch break for a couple hours and integrate the tools in your home while you're, you know, we're at a time where there's massive change happening on the planet. And why would you wait to create, you know? So, and then, you know, we go through the afternoon, and every day is different. I honestly, Michelle, I've been facilitating for so long that I just show up and ask, like, what are we going to change? What are we going to create? And we follow the energy. And we've got this amazing manual, but like, I mean, you know, we go almost anywhere. So it becomes an adventure that we get to go on and through together that, wow, changes anything.
So it's not scripted. There's no rules, and everyone's included.
Ding. And there's no prerequisites.
No prerequisites. What does that mean?
So, you know, it's based on the tools of Access Consciousness, and a lot of classes in Access, you know, they have certain, like the higher up you go in a class, the more prerequisites there are. You know, Dr. Dane has a 2.5-day Being You class, and there are no prerequisites. So you don't need to know anything. You just need I say as a joke, the only prerequisite is you have to have a body. And you have to be willing to change. And that's it. And we'll give you all the tools you need.
Well, it sounds like fun. I can't wait.
I wonder what we'll create. I'm excited. Cool. So if you're interested, check it out. And that's all. All right. Let's see.